Tokyo, officially the Tokyo metropolis, is the capital of Japan and one of the most populous cities in the world, with a population of over 14 million residents as of 2023 and the second most populated capital in the world. The Greater Tokyo area, which includes Tokyo and parts of 6 neighboring prefectures, is the most populous metropolitan area in the world, with 41 million residents as of 2024. Located at the head of Tokyo Bay, Tokyo is part of the Kanto region on the central coast of Honshu, Japan's largest island. Tokyo serves as Japan's economic center and the seat of both the Japanese government and the Emperor of Japan. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government administers Tokyo's central 23 special wards, which formerly made up Tokyo City, various commuter towns and suburbs in its western area, and 2 outlying island chains known as the Tokyo Islands. Despite most of the world recognizing Tokyo as a city, since 1943 its governing structure has been more akin to a prefecture, with an accompanying governor and assembly taking precedence over the smaller municipal governments which make up the metropolis. Notable special wards in Tokyo include Chiyoda, the site of the National Diet Building and the Tokyo Imperial Palace, Shinjuku, the city's administrative center, and Shibuya, a commercial, cultural, and business hub in the city. Before the 17th century, Tokyo, then known as Edo, was mainly a fishing village. It gained political prominence in 1603 when it became the seat of the Tokugawa shogunate. By the mid-18th century, Edo was among the world's largest cities, with over 1 million residents. Following the Meiji Restoration in 1868, the imperial capital in Kyoto was moved to Edo, and the city was renamed Tokyo Eastern Capital. In 1923, Tokyo was damaged substantially by the Great Kanto earthquake, and the city was later badly damaged by Allied bombing raids during World War II. Beginning in the late 1940s, Tokyo underwent rapid reconstruction and expansion that contributed to the era's so-called Japanese economic miracle, in which Japan's economy propelled to the second largest in the world at the time, behind that of the United States. As of 2023, the city is home to 29 of the world's 500 largest companies, as listed in the annual Fortune Global 500, the second highest number of any city. In the 20th and 21st centuries, Tokyo became the first city in Asia to host the Summer Olympics and Paralympics in 1964, and again in 2021, and it also hosted 3 G7 summits in 1979, 1986, and 1993. Tokyo is an international research and development hub and an academic center with several major universities, including the University of Tokyo, the top-ranking university in the country. Tokyo Station is the central hub for the Shinkansen, Japan's high-speed railway network, and Shinjuku Station in Tokyo is the world's busiest train station. The city is home to the world's tallest tower, Tokyo Skytree. The Tokyo Metro Ginza line, which opened in 1927, is the oldest underground metro line in Asia Pacific. Tokyo's nominal gross domestic output was 113.7 trillion yen or $1.04 trillion in FY 2021 and accounted for 20.7% of the country's total economic output, which converts to 8.07 million yen or $73,820 per capita. Including the Greater Tokyo area, Tokyo is the second largest metropolitan economy in the world after New York, with a 2022 gross metropolitan product estimated at $2.08 trillion. Although Tokyo's status as a leading global financial hub has diminished with the lost decades since the 1990s when the Tokyo Stock Exchange was the world's largest, with a market capitalization about 1.5 times that of the NYSE, the city is still a large financial hub. And the TSE remains among the world's top 5 major stock exchanges. Tokyo is categorized as an Alpha Plus city by the Globalization and World Cities Research Network. The city is also recognized as one of the world's most livable ones. It was ranked 4th in the world in the 2021 edition of the Global Livability Ranking. Tokyo has also been ranked as the safest city in the world in multiple international surveys. Tokyo was originally a village called Edo, part of the old Musashi province. Edo was first fortified by the Edo clan in the late 12th century. In 1457, Tadakan built Edo Castle to defend the region from the Chiba clan. After the Khan was assassinated in 1486, the castle and the area came to be possessed by several feudal lords. In 1590, Tokugawa Ieyasu was granted the Kanth region by Toyotomi Hideyoshi and moved there from his ancestral land of Mikowa province. He greatly expanded the castle, which was said to have been abandoned and in tatters when he moved there, and ruled the region from there. When he became shogun, the de facto ruler of the country, in 1603, the whole country came to be ruled from Edo. While the Tokugawa shogunate ruled the country in practice, the Imperial House of Japan was still the de jure ruler, and the title of shogun was granted by the emperor as a formality. The Imperial House was based in Kyoto from 794 to 1868, so Edo was still not the capital of Japan. During the Edo period, the city enjoyed a prolonged period of peace known as the Pax Tokugawa, and in the presence of such peace, the shogunate adopted a stringent policy of seclusion, which helped to perpetuate the lack of any serious military threat to the city. The absence of war-inflicted devastation allowed Edo to devote the majority of its resources to rebuilding in the wake of the consistent fires, earthquakes, and other devastating natural disasters that plagued the city. Edo grew into one of the largest cities in the world, with a population reaching 1 million by the 18th century. This prolonged period of seclusion, however, came to an end with the arrival of American Commodore Matthew C. Parry in 1853. Commodore Parry forced the opening of the ports of Shimoda and Hakorte, leading to an increase in the demand for new foreign goods and subsequently a severe rise in inflation. Social unrest mounted in the wake of these higher prices and culminated in widespread rebellions and demonstrations, especially in the form of the smashing of rice establishments. Meanwhile, supporters of the emperor leveraged the disruption caused by widespread rebellious demonstrations to further consolidate power, which resulted in the overthrow of the last Tokugawa shogun, Yoshinobu, in 1867. After 265 years, the Pax Tokugawa came to an end. In May 1868, Edo Castle was handed to the emperor supporting forces after negotiation. The fall of Edo. Some forces loyal to the shogunate kept fighting, but with their loss in the Battle of Ueno on 4th July 1868, the entire city came under the control of the new government. Meanwhile, supporters of the emperor leveraged the disruption caused by widespread rebellious demonstrations to further consolidate power, which resulted in the overthrow of the last Tokugawa shogun, Yoshinobu, in 1867. After 265 years, the Pax Tokugawa came to an end. In May 1868, Edo Castle was handed to the emperor supporting forces after negotiation. The fall of Edo. Some forces loyal to the shogunate kept fighting, but with their loss in the Battle of Ueno on 4th July 1868, the entire city came under the control of the new government. The mainland portion of Tokyo lies northwest of Tokyo Bay and measures about 90 kilometers 56 mi east to west and 25 kilometers 16 mi north to south. The average elevation in Tokyo is 40 meters 131 feet. Chiba Prefecture borders it to the east, Yamanashi to the west, Kanagawa to the south, and Saitama to the north. Within the administrative boundaries of Tokyo metropolis are two island chains in the Pacific Ocean directly south, the Izu Islands and the Ogasawara Islands, which stretch more than 1,000 kilometers 620 mi away from the mainland. Because of these islands and the mountainous regions to the west, Tokyo's overall population density figures far underrepresent the real figures for the urban and suburban regions of Tokyo. The former city of Tokyo and the majority of Tokyo Prefecture lie in the humid subtropical climate zone Köppen climate classification, CFA, with hot, humid summers and mild to cool winters with occasional cold spells. The region, like much of Japan, experiences a one-month seasonal lag. The warmest month is August, which averages 26.9 degrees Celsius 80.4 degree F. The coolest month is January, averaging 5.4 degrees Celsius 41.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The record low temperature was 9.2 degrees Celsius 15.4 degrees Fahrenheit on 13th January 1876. The record high was 39.5 degrees Celsius 103.1 degrees Fahrenheit on 20th July 2004. The record highest low temperature is 30.3 degrees Celsius (86.5 degrees Fahrenheit) on 12th August 2013, making Tokyo one of only 7 observation sites in Japan that have recorded a low temperature over 30 degrees Celsius (86.0 degrees Fahrenheit). Annual rainfall averages nearly 1,600 millimeters, with a wetter summer and a drier winter. The growing season in Tokyo lasts for about 322 days from around mid-February to early January. Snowfall is sporadic and occurs almost annually. Tokyo often sees typhoons every year, though few are strong. The wettest month since records began in 1876 was October 2004, with 780 millimeters 30 in of rain, including 270. 5 millimeters 10.65 in on the 9th of that month. The most recent of 4 months on record to observe no precipitation is December 1995. Annual precipitation has ranged from 879.5 millimeters 34.63 in 1984 to 2229.6 millimeters 87.78 in 1938. Tokyo is near the boundary of 3 plates, making it an extremely active region for smaller quakes and slippage which frequently affect the urban area with swaying as if in a boat. Although epicenters within mainland Tokyo excluding Tokyo's 2000 km 243 mi Long Island jurisdiction are quite rare. It is not uncommon in the metro area to have hundreds of these minor quakes magnitudes 4, 6 that can be felt in a single year, something local residents merely brush off but can be a source of anxiety not only for foreign visitors but for Japanese from elsewhere as well. They rarely cause much damage, sometimes a few injuries, as they are either too small or far away as quakes tend to dance around the region. Particularly active are offshore regions, and to a lesser extent Chiba and Ibaraki. Tokyo has been hit by powerful megathrust earthquakes in 1703, 1782, 1812, 1855, 1923, and much more indirectly with some liquefaction in landfill zones in 2011. The frequency of direct and large quakes is a relative rarity. The 1923 earthquake, with an estimated magnitude of 7.9, killed more than 100,000 people, the last time the urban area was directly hit. Mount Fuji is about 100 kilometers 62 mi southwest of Tokyo. There is a low risk of eruption. The last recorded was the Hei eruption, which started on 16th December 1707 and ended about 1st January 1708, 16 days. During the Hei eruption, the ash amount was 4 centimeters in southern Tokyo and 2 centimeters to 0.5 centimeter in central Tokyo. Kanagawa had 16 centimeters to 8 centimeters ash and Saitama 0.5 to 0 centimeters. If the wind blows northeast, it could send volcanic ash to Tokyo metropolis. According to the government, less than a millimeter of the volcanic ash from a Mount Fuji eruption could cause power grid problems such as blackouts and stop trains in the Tokyo metropolitan area. A mixture of ash with rain could stick to cell phone antennas, power lines, and cause temporary power outages. The affected areas would need to be evacuated. Tokyo is located on the Kant Plain with 5 river systems and dozens of rivers that expand during each season. Important rivers are Edogwa, Nakagawa, Arakawa, Kandagawa, Megurugwa and Tamgawa. In 1947, Typhoon Kathleen struck Tokyo, destroying 31,000 homes and killing 1,100 people. In 1958, Typhoon Ida dropped 400 millimeters 16 in of rain in a single week, causing streets to flood. In the 1950s and 1960s, as the government invested 7% of the national budget on disaster and risk reduction. A huge system of dams, levees and tunnels was constructed. The purpose is to manage heavy rain, typhoonic rain, and river floods. Tokyo has currently the world's largest underground floodwater diversion facility called the Metropolitan Area Outer Underground Discharge Channel Mount. It took 13 years to build and was completed in 2006. The Mount is a 6.3 kilometers long system of tunnels, 22 meters 72 feet underground, with 70 meter 230 feet tall cylindrical tanks, each tank being large enough to fit a space shuttle or the Statue of Liberty. During floods, excess water is collected from rivers and drained to the Edo River. Low-lying areas of Keiti, Edogawa, Sumida, Katsushika, Tate and Arakawa near the Arakawa River are most at risk of flooding. Tokyo's buildings are too diverse to be characterized by any specific architectural style, but it can be generally said that a majority of extant structures were built in the past 100 years, twice in recent history has the metropolis been left in ruins. First in the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake, and later after extensive firebombing in World War II. The oldest known extant building in Tokyo is Shofukuji in Higashimuraima. The current building was constructed in 1407, during the Muromachi period 1336-1573. Although greatly reduced in number by later fires, earthquakes, and air raids, a considerable number of Edo-era buildings survive to this day. The Tokyo Imperial Palace, which was occupied by the Tokugawa shogunate as Edo Castle during the Edo period 1603-1868, has many gates and towers dating from that era, although the main palace buildings and the Teishu Tower have been lost. Numerous temple and shrine buildings in Tokyo date from this era. The Ueno Toshogu still maintains the original 1651 building built by the third shogun Iemitsu Tokugawa. Although partially destroyed during the Second World War, Zojoji, which houses the Tokugawa family mausoleum, still has grand Edo-era buildings such as the Sangedatsu Gate. Kaneji has grand 17th century buildings such as the 5-story pagoda and the Shimizudo. The Nezu Shrine and Gokokuji were built by the 5th shogun Tsuneyoshi Tokugawa in the late 1600s. All feudal lords daimyo had large Edo houses where they stayed when in Edo. At one point, these houses amounted to half the total area of Edo. None of the grand Edo-era daimyo houses still exist in Tokyo, as their vast land footprint made them easy targets for redevelopment programs for modernization during the Meiji period. Some gardens were immune from such fates and are today open to the public. Amarikyu Kofu Tokugawa family, Shibarikyu Kishu Tokugawa family, Koshikawa Korkue Mito Tokugawa family, Rikugie Yanagisawa family, and Haigo Hosokuwa Garden Hosokuwa family. The Akamo, which is now widely seen as a symbol of the University of Tokyo, was originally built to commemorate the marriage of a shogun's daughter into the Maeda clan, one of the most affluent of the feudal lords, while the campus itself occupies their former Edo estate. The Meiji era saw a rapid modernization in architectural styles as well, until the Great Kanto earthquake in 1923 exposed their weakness to seismic shocks. Grand brick buildings were constantly built across the city. Tokyo Station 1914, the Ministry of Justice Building 1895 and Mitsubishi Building 1 1894, rebuilt in 2010 are some of the few brick survivors from this period. It was regarded as fashionable by some members of the Japanese aristocracy to build their Tokyo residences in grand and modern styles, and some of these buildings still exist, although most are in private hands and open to the public on limited occasion. Aristocratic residences today open to the public include the Marquis Maeda residence in Komaba, the Baron Iwasaki residence in Ikenohata, and the Baron Furukawa residence in Nishigahara. The Great Kanto earthquake in 1923 ushered in an era of concrete architecture. Surviving reinforced concrete buildings from this era include the Meiji Insurance Headquarters completed in 1934, the Mitsui Headquarters 1929, Mitsukoshi Nihobashi Flagship Store 1914, refurbished in 1925, Takashimaya Nihobashi Flagship Store 1932, Wako in Ginza and Eisten Shinjuku Flagship Store 1933. This spread of earthquake and fire-resistant architecture reached council housing too, most notably the Junkai apartments. The 1930s saw the rise of styles that combined characteristics of both traditional Japanese and modern designs. Shuta Ito was a leading figure in this movement, and his extant works in Tokyo include Tsukizi Honganji 1934. The Imperial Crown style, which often features Japanese-style roofs on top of elevated concrete structures, was adopted for the Tokyo National Museum in Ueno and the Kudan Hall in Kudanminami. Tokyo's gross regional product was 113.7 trillion yen or $1.04 trillion in FY 2021 and accounted for 20.7% of the country's total economic output, which converts to 8.07 million yen or $73,820 per capita. By sector, wholesale and retail was the largest contributor, accounting for 21.5% of the total output. This was followed by real estate 13.5%, professional, scientific and technical 12.2%, information and communications 11.7%, finance and insurance 7.6%, manufacturing 7.0%, and healthcare 6.7%. Agriculture, forestry and fishery, and mining combined accounted for less than 0.1% of the economic output. As these numbers suggest, Tokyo's economy is heavily dependent on the tertiary sector. As the Greater Tokyo area, it has the second largest metropolitan economy in the world, after Greater New York, with a gross metropolitan product estimated at $2 trillion. The area's economy is slightly smaller than Canada's economy while being slightly larger than Mexico's, according to IMF estimates from the same year. Tokyo's business districts are concentrated in 4 central wards: Chiyoda Marunouchi, Otemachi, Kasumigaseki, Shunihambashi, Kyobashi, Yesu, Minato Shimbashi, Shiodon, Toranomon, and Shinjuku West Shinjuku. The 23 special wards of Tokyo had 73.5 million m of office space as of January 2022. In 2023, 29 of the Fortune Global 500 companies were headquartered in Tokyo, which was the second highest concentration in the world after Beijing. Notably, around 20 of them are based in Marunouchi, such as MUFG, Mitsubishi Corp, and Hitachi. Tokyo was rated by the Economist Intelligence Unit as the most expensive highest cost of living city in the world for 14 years in a row, ending in 2006, when it was replaced by Oslo, and later Paris. However, years of deflation, and an extremely weak yen starting in 2022 due to Japan's low interest rates made the cost of living in Tokyo 31% cheaper than in New York City in 2023, which is roughly the same as in Beijing and Manchester according to the 2023 EIU rankings. Henley and Partners estimated that there were 298,300 individuals with a net worth of more than $1 million living in Tokyo in 2024, the third highest number in the world. Tokyo is a major international finance center. It houses the headquarters of several of the world's largest investment banks and insurance companies, and serves as a hub for Japan's transportation, publishing, electronics and broadcasting industries. During the centralized growth of Japan's economy following World War II, many large firms moved their headquarters from cities such as Osaka, the historical commercial capital, to Tokyo, in an attempt to take advantage of better access to the government. Tokyo emerged as a leading international financial center (IFC) in the 1960s and has been described as one of the 3 command centers for the world economy, along with New York City and London. In the 2020 Global Financial Centers Index, Tokyo was ranked as having the 4th most competitive financial center in the world, and 2nd most competitive in Asia after Shanghai. Mitsubishi UFJ, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, Mizuho Financial Group, all among the top 20 banks in the world by total assets in 2023, are headquartered in Tokyo. The Japanese financial market opened up slowly in 1984 and accelerated its internationalization with the Japanese Big Bang in 1998. Despite the emergence of Singapore and Hong Kong as competing financial centers, the Tokyo IFC manages to keep a prominent position in Asia. The Tokyo Stock Exchange is Japan's largest stock exchange, and 3rd largest in the world by market capitalization and 4th largest by share turnover. In 1990, at the end of the Japanese asset price bubble, it accounted for more than 60% of the world stock market value. In 2019, tourism accounted for slightly more than 1% of Tokyo's total economic output, with 15.18 million foreign visitors spending 1.26 trillion yen, according to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. According to a 2022 government survey, the most visited areas in Tokyo were